does provide some opportunities. But next, we have Dr. Kadim Naima, who is a former head of the Center of Strategic and International Studies at the University of Baghdad. And so I will hand the podium over to Dr. Kadim.
السلام عليكم. أنا سأحاول أن أزاوج بين العربية وبين الإنجليزية، فأظن أن اللغة العربية لم تأخذ حصتها في المداخلات، وأن معظم المستمعين هم من الشباب العرب الذين نضع ثقتنا فيهم في أن ينجزوا ما لم ننجزه بعد 80 عاماً. What we have heard from the presentation from the professor before me takes me back 30 years ago to Korea. I attended then an occasion at the University of Hu. I think Korea was admitted to the United Nations, 91. So there was a conference, and I came then from the war in Kuwait. So an Iraqi traveling to Korea in 91, coming from the war in Iraq. So when I stood in front of the passport officer and he looked at my passport and turned the pages and he said, "Where are you from?" Well, I said, "I am from Iraq." He said, "Iraq?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Iraq?" Twice. I said, "Yes. Flesh and blood from Iraq." So it took me minutes to think by this question he meant to say. I think this is what we have heard just now, how a drastic and fundamental change has occurred. قد حدث في الperception وفي الimage of the Arabs in Korea from the presentation, and I'm very thankful to you to correct my information. Then the next stage, when I delivered my paper in English, one of the professors asked me, "We have an institute of foreign languages. Would you please to come and give a lecture?" I said, "Yes." He said, "In which language?" He said, "In Arabic." Oh, I was pleased. I said, "Oh, gracious me, this is the opportunity to show my mutanabbi and a jahaz and so on." So I brushed my Arabic, classical Arabic, and I know I am not so bad in a classical Arabic language. So when I started my first 2-3 sentences, the audience, I felt that they didn't continue, they don't follow me. So I asked the professor next to me, "Shall I continue in Arabic?" He said, "No, please, would you switch to English?" So I switched to English. So now really you have presented what a great change has happened in what we call public relation, public diplomacy, as Joseph Ney and his followers of the soft power in the field of international politics have elaborated so far. I think the best thing to start with is a quotation by the Korean foreign minister, which I think he has summarized all what I hope, or I think what we are going to hear in this session about public or cultural relation. Do allow me to quote him, because there are so many keys in his words. Here we are. And it's concerning Korea. Korea's public diplomacy entails promoting diplomatic relation by sharing our country's history, traditions, culture, arts, values, policies, and visions through direct communication with foreign nationals. By doing so, we enhance our diplomatic relation and national image by gaining the trust. Look at how he has chosen the word, the trust of the international community, and increasing our country's global influence. I do think that Korea hasn't failed at all to materialize what the foreign minister has said or pointed out in this quotation. This is point one. The other point which I would like, which is concerning the Arab side. Unfortunately, we do not have so much information concerning this aspect of cultural diplomatic relation between the Arab countries and not only Korea. I'm speaking from 55 years experience of teaching and lecturing in this international politics. We don't have interest in this field of our diplomatic activities with other countries. Yet, we have left as an Arab قد تركنا في كل موقع إرثا. Even in Korea, we have, as we heard this morning and now, that we have some heritage, some historical implant in Korea. This is another quotation which explains this idea, how the Arab felt about Korea. Here it reads about Korea. It is a land abounding in gold, called Silla. Muslims who advance there, captivated by its congenial surroundings, tend to settle there for good and do not think of leaving the place because of the fresh air, clean water, fertile earth, prospect for an increase of profit. Here they are traders, of profit and income, rich minerals and rich gems. Those who leave the place are quite few. And some of the settlers are from Iraq, where I come from. It's by name, Iraq, some by name. Now, this is the idea. Now, has Korea been present in our culture, in our literature, in our even academic textbooks, from school to university? From my experience, I teach politics since '66. I don't think I was the only Iraqi who comes to talk about Korea. Even my colleagues, they just know the Korean War and so on. They don't have information about Korea too much. May I say something else? That Korea has invaded our homes, families, mothers, grandmothers, youth, Arabs, more than has been successful to invading these categories, more than the intellectuals and the press. I mean, if you make a survey in the Arab press, how many times Korea comes up in the press? Hardly it comes. While this is disadvantageous to the Arabs, we must know that we are present in every event, in every channel, in every newspaper, in every broadcast, because what happens in our lands, it is our fault, not others, theirs. It is our fault. So here we have this comparison between the situation in Korea and the other thing. The drivers for Korean to influence us are more than our drivers. أكثر اندفاعا وحماسة وبواعث على التوجه to go to the Middle East, especially the Arab Gulf, خاصة الخليج العربي. لماذا؟ بسبب economy. Let us be true, let us be fair. It is not because they want to trade or to present Korean as a culture. No, I don't know. This is how I understand the situation. It is as the second approach, a trajectory, not the main aim. It is always economics. Politics follows economics. Now this is the situation. So in our cases, we don't have centers don't have many centers. I don't think there is any Iraqi student who can speak one word of Korean. But today I have been astonished by the young lady standing here talking fluently without hesitation, confident. I don't know how our colleague have, but I think it was splendid, very musical. شاعرية القول في كلامها في هذا. نأتي الآن إلى مسألة كيف أن الكوريين تسللوا منها إلينا، تسللوا إليها منا ليس بالeducation، ونحن على خطأ في هذا. We must learn a lot from the Korean educational system. I have written a book on Korea as a middle power after the Cold War. And I have followed the development of the educational system from the 70s. They prepared education to serve economy, and they have been very well done, very successful. And I do recommend that we must examine the Korean educational system to transfer from rental economy to industrial economy. But that's what they did. They moved to industrial economy through education. Through excellent experience, which we must follow and do. Now let us come to the other thing which they may have influenced us with, is the media, and that is the films. As I've said, the Korean films and dramas are really worth of talking about. Let me read what I think of the themes in these dramas. The themes are serious and common to that of the Arab world. They tackle social, moral, and humanitarian issues. The language is not vulgar at all, if you would compare it with the French and the American language, slangs and so on. You don't see this in Korean. Dresses are traditional and unprovocative. And we are in the age of, it is hard for me to find the word about dressing. There are social, humanitarian, and psychological and behavior which are common with what the Arab considered part of their culture, tradition, and custom. There is an emphasis on social heritage, values, and principles. Dramas do not intend to present an alternative, unlike the American and the French. No cultural hidden message in it. Or alternative code of belief and ideas to the audience. They are very neutral. They say, here we are, this is our life, this is our home, this is our culture. And for the 7 days which I stayed in Seoul, I witnessed how different culture they are from the others. Now then, let me move to other issue which is also very important, and that is the activities. I hope I have a few minutes. The centers in the field of cultural cooperation. There are festivals. I think we must emphasize on the youth, exchange of youth, students, especially graduate and postgraduate, giving grants to Arab students to study in Korea. And they can study in English, but at least they have the experience of living within a Korean society. There are some festivals and some activities, what they call the caravan. These are, I do appreciate what they try to do, but their influence is very limited. We don't have Arab films which can go to be presented or to be shown in Korea. But Korea, because they have an English language, they have translation, so they have more chance to do so. Now, the last point, or the one before the last point, which I would like to talk about the football experience, the club, the World Cup experience in Doha. Korea has been a very volunteer and has done very well in these activities. I think it has hosted 5 international activities in sport. It is a record. In the Arab countries, we have only this unique, unfortunately, but we hope it will be the next one to others to follow. That is the holding of the football. What can I say about the football? What impact it has on social culture, our theme? I think, do allow me please to read a few sentences. It provided a common platform for dialogue among audience at the local, regional, or global levels. It demonstrated the relevance of cultural connectivity among different actors, levels, and methods at the widest scope possible. It is an event promotes the discussion of various issues of regional and global issues. It is a platform to express the views and expectation of a wide and various audience from different nations. Despite the differences in approach to major global and regional issues, the events facilitates the emergence of global solidarity. It provides us a unity of diversification. This is very important. We are an international community. With globalization, we are villages in international rather than states anymore. The other thing which is very important in this, that issues which concern the Arab countries like Palestine, like human rights, like environment, could be discussed and elaborated in this meeting. And which is most important, it has broken the very well-guarded and established rule that all these events shouldn't be held only in, quote, Western European culture. They can't be held in other cultures. And therefore, Qatar was subject to many criticism during the preparation. They turned every stone to find any excuse to not allow Qatar to have it, but at the end have it. To say last sentence before I go to recommendation, I think, if I summarize my ideas, cultural diplomacy with educational diplomacy, which is a part of public diplomacy, according to Joseph Ney, in the paradigm of international politics or foreign policy, they cement foreign policy. People-to-people relations cement, enhance, strengthen, make strong connectivity rather than sort of closed doors behind bar discussions and deals. Finally, may I have to present these recommendations. Number one, I think I am here not to criticizing, I am just showing the faults in our approach in this field. Arabs, not Korean. I have nothing to show a flaw in the Korean approach at all. It's a very splendid one. Really, you can't argue against. But unfortunately, our case, we are bilateral. We create cultural diplomacy or public relations, people to people, bilaterally. This is waste of efforts. This is number one. Number two, it presents only one country's image or heritage, although it is Arabic, Islamic, but still local, not general. So I would advise that we should have an Arab League policy in this field. Secondly, I think the information We lack information on the Arab side. We must elaborate on this field, create a trend toward giving attention, more activities to this field of public diplomacy. We must depart traditional diplomacy, one-man diplomacy. We must go to public diplomacy. The other thing which is also very, I think one may suggest in this case, is to increase the centers, the Korean centers in the Arab countries, please. I know why you concentrate on the Arab Gulf. I taught in Algeria for 3 years, and I taught in Libya for 15 years. In Algeria, there was no Korea at all, no mention of Korea. In Libya, there was the river. And something which nobody knows, all schools, all grammar schools, they are Korean, they are built by Koreans. Unified system of schools in all Libya. You witness this is Korea, not Libya, because it's the same style. So please try to encourage these centers in the Arab countries. And finally, I hope we both, Korean and Arabs, join hand in try to find a solution to our major issues which is burning in our country, especially what we witness now in Gaza. Korea as a middle power, I turn now to politics. I wish it wouldn't stand all the time on the sideline. A middle power must move a little bit forward. It moved into Iraq in 1901, but didn't go to the battlefield. Paid check. So check no longer is rewardable. So at least we need some activity in the arena of soft power, mediation, facilitator, and so on. Thank you very much. I do apologize for getting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kadim. You know, we've been here trying.